ask yourself a damn question. Is winning the only thing to you?
Sports today are not just played on the field. They're played every day, online, all over the world, by sports fans just like you.
Don't you dare breathe. That won't get you anywhere. If you don't think you're a winner, you don't belong here.
The Star Fantasy League Show puts you in control of your own team. Find out who to sit, who to start, how to play, and have your daily fantasy sports questions answered with your host, Jonathan Sprung, and co-host SFL CEO Zach Stanley and Nick Steblenko. The Star Fantasy League Show is on the air now.
Hello and welcome to the Star Fantasy League Show here on 105.5 The Team in Rochester. I am your host, Jonathan Sprung, joined, as always, by SFL CEO Zach Stanley.
Aren't we calling this show something? Something special? This could be special. The return.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask if this was Star Fantasy League Show 2 Electric Boogaloo.
No, that's not.
What are you talking about?
Well, somebody is in our presence today that we haven't seen for quite a while and has joined the Star Fantasy League's team.
Okay, do you want to do the intros? Do you just want me to let you host the show? Is that what you're trying to... Are you trying to, just steal the hosting?
Please welcome Matt Footer.
Thank you.
Hold on, wait for it. Hold on. Before you actually say anything, what up, Foot? I remember that.
There it is.
We used to say that a lot.
What up, Foot?
What up, Foot? That's when we had a podcast. That was from 2 years ago almost.
Yeah, that was when our career on fantasy sports radio began.
That is true.
And he was a part of it.
Yep, Matt Footer, he answered an email asking for a guy to join us in a venture in radio, which is just me recording a podcast in my living room. Started out there. And now we actually have a broadcast studio. Foot, how are you liking these new digs?
This is state of the art right here.
Stop that.
Compared to
He's buttering us up again.
Yeah, I know he is. Of course he is. Well, you already got the job. You're hired, by the way. You don't have to butter us up.
Okay.
You don't have to wear a suit, too. That was weird. You wore a suit to the interview. You see that?
Okay, it was for my previous
Yeah, he says that, but I don't believe it.
I could take the buttering.
Okay.
You can just keep
Zach
that
wants to
coming.
be buttered up because
This is great. I
from
love
the
it.
Bills,
This
he's
is
just
the
all
best
in a
thing ever.
buttered
Well,
up mood.
we talked about putting him in the cage before, and he was like, wherever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. He just wanted
as
a
long
job.
as I'm here.
Put me on the roof. That's fine.
I don't think we have access to the roof. We're on the second floor.
I'll figure it out.
Four-story
It's a
building.
nice day out. That might actually be a bonus for
Yeah,
him
it's
of
not a
sorts,
punishment.
So no.
It's not a punishment.
Okay.
But welcome to the team. You
Thank
are
you.
now a member of the Star Fantasy League's family. You're going to be joining us on the Star Fantasy League show from time to time when either Nick or Zach decides to venture off, or actually we'll all be venturing off. You'll
Or
be doing the
Jason,
show.
because I know that Jason is still very interested in coming on
Is he?
from time to time.
Oh, I thought he hates this show.
He loves it.
Oh, he never
I
shows
think
excitement on the
once
show.
he
I'm
got
worried.
once he got over his low talking issues and came into his own a little bit, I think he's really started to enjoy himself.
Nice. Well, Footer, welcome to the team again. We're very happy to have you finally on the Star Fantasy League's family.
I appreciate it. I'm excited for this opportunity, and I can't wait to go forward.
At least you
with
didn't
that.
talk like I'm very excited for the opportunity. As most NFL athletes
basically-
show
I
excitement.
I was actually going for that, so
Well, you screwed up.
It seems like we'll never miss a show again.
Oh.
Because we'll always have some capable, knowledgeable people in the office ready to do the show.
And me,
And you.
which I'm not capable or knowledgeable, so I'm just here to host.
You're something.
Yeah, that is true. I am something. We need to move on because we spent too much time patting ourselves on the back, which, although after week one at StarFantasyLeagues.com, we should be patting ourselves on the back. Season long.
Or on the butt.
No, we're not going to do that. Season long kicked off without a hitch. Daily kicked off. We are the first site with both daily and season long still. Nobody else is doing it.
I mean, that's just it's
amazing.
a non-violent, non-hostile takeover is what it is.
That is true. We're taking over the daily fantasy sports landscape and the season long fantasy sports landscape. I'm excited.
It is so much fun, and now that we're in the season, finally,
Yay.
the site is abuzz. There are tons of people on, tons of games are running. It couldn't be better.
Yeah, get in on the action. $5,000 guaranteed in just one game. It's a $5 buy-in. Going to be up right now for week 2. $500 free roll for week 2, and other double-ups and guaranteed prize pools all over the place.
There's money to be made.
There is lots of money to be made, but we need to talk about week 1 before we get to the Buffalo Bills, which is the only thing we care about in Western New York, right? Right?
Yes.
Bills. We have to talk about somebody finally got it right. Something's shining down on us today because Ray Rice has been released and suspended from football indefinitely. Thank you to the Baltimore Ravens. Thank you to TMZ. They did it.
Yeah, amen to that. This whole crap coming out about the NFL like an hour after saying that he's suspended indefinitely, that they didn't have the
reactionary.
video,
Stop
even though
it.
there's sources that say executives came out and said that they had the video. So this just seems like a whole bunch of garbage to me. The NFL, Roger Goodell, couldn't have dropped the ball more on this one. And, it's great that we see this video now and everybody's got these graphic images in front of them and all that.
Yeah, you should have done the right thing.
He was dragging his fiance out of the elevator unconscious. Why did we need to see a video of her getting knocked unconscious to say that this had to be really, really bad?
That's what's wrong
with
our...
He admitted to knocking her unconscious.
That's what's wrong with our society. We need to see, it could have been some other thing that happened. We don't know. No, when you have this, we had the facts from beforehand. You don't need to see the physical evidence. But apparently the NFL, Roger Goodell said, I just got the decision wrong. Guess what? I don't care if you got the decision wrong. Fix your decision if you got it wrong.
And as this news came out, I think that the Ravens were still trying to hold on to that hope that the media, the social media fallout, all of these ex-NFL players coming out and say this guy needs to go. They were kind of holding out hope that it wouldn't be as bad as it was, because I think they were still trying to say that this guy is turning things around.
Oh yeah,
and
turning
that
his
this
back
was
so
a
he can
one-time incident.
hit somebody.
Whether we shower them with praise for finally making the right decision, whatever we do with it, this was what needed to be done. I don't think that there was any way around it. I don't think that even if they thought that he was going to have a 2,000-yard season, that they would have gotten around what they needed to do here, which is to release him. And I dare say that we will not see him in an NFL uniform again.
Wow. Really? I said
I don't think there is going to be anybody that wants to take the flack of PR to put this guy on their team.
Hasn't Pac-Man Jones hit people too? Has he hit women? We've seen a video of him hitting a woman.
And that's the thing, is that there's the line between the video was clear that she was unconscious and not having a video at all. I'm talking about how we got this extra video. Now all of a sudden it blows up even more. But when you don't have a video at all, it's hard to know what really went on. Have the legitimate proof to say you're gone from our team, not just suspended for however long. We got the proof. It was there. It should have been done long before. And Roger Goodell really dropped the ball, and I think that this is going to be a blemish on his career as the commissioner of the league.
I agree wholeheartedly with the blemish on Roger Goodell's career, but let's get away from the negativity of the whole Ray Rice scandal. Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills, the first place Buffalo Bills. Did I mention that first place in the AFC East?
I can't believe that I get to go to Ralph Wilson Stadium next week
to see the first place.
Knowing that my 1-0 team is taking on their division rival, who is also 1-0, and it happens to not be the New England Patriots.
Yes. I know, isn't that exciting?
It's awesome.
The last place New England Patriots, which makes me as a Steeler fan really excited because I hate them.
I'm not even counting. I'm not even counting the Jets, though. I will say that
they're not a real thing.
I mean, they barely. I mean, the score doesn't indicate it, but they should have blown out Oakland yesterday. And
5-point win. Congratulations, guys. Well done.
The penalties that they committed. Rex Ryan came out and said, we should have destroyed that team.
Yeah.
He literally said that in his interview.
Rookie quarterback. You should destroy the rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Stop that. But let's talk about this team overall. They had an incredible day. You see the score, it's close, whatever. They were playing a Chicago Bears team with one of the highest powered offenses in the league. They held them to 20 points overall. But above all else, their offense looked really, really good. Is it because it's against the Chicago defense that last year couldn't stop anybody, or did they actually, pull something off here?
E.G. Manuel was doing what a pretty much second half of a rookie year quarterback is supposed to do, given the experience that he has under his belt. He did almost everything right yesterday. He managed the game. He operated within himself. He looked confident the whole time. He allowed the talent on his team to make plays and put them in the right situation to do so. I mean, there were third down conversions going on yesterday that we haven't seen in forever out of the Bills. There were plays that were being made that were critical to the success of the game that usually result in incompletions. It was very excited to see him, and I think that this really quieted a lot of people down.
Yeah, he's 5-6 as a starter now. Hasn't played a full season technically yet. He came out and managed the game 16 for 22, 173, one touchdown, one rushing touchdown on a beautiful play call, I have to admit.
Oh, and a great fake as well.
Yes, that was an amazing play right there. But like you said, he managed the play, speaking fantasy-wise, okay, but from a real football perspective-wise, he was able to do what needed to be done at the right time against not the best defense out there, but a serviceable defense.
There was one play that was a fake run and then a fake end around, and then a screen pass. It got strung out pretty quickly, but just watching him operate those types of plays and do it very smoothly and successfully just shows that he's getting more of the playbook now. I heard he made an unbelievable speech before the game. All the players were talking about it, that it got them really revved up, and he just looked so poised and confident out there. It looked like he's already turned the corner, and all of this talk from the preseason, which is usually bull anyways, is now in the rearview mirror.
Yeah, let's talk about the run game, though, because last year you guys were, I believe, second overall in rushing?
Yeah, right behind the Eagles.
But they really turned it on. We thought we were going to get the three-headed monster there of Spiller, Brown, and Jackson, but Brown was a healthy scratch this game. Not really sure what happened there. But another man whose name I didn't really know before this game, Anthony Dixon, came in and had a monster performance.
Yeah, Anthony Dixon had some rushes that were just so hard. I mean, he was knocking people over and picking up those extra yards. He is a guy that you feel like can get that 1 yard anytime you need him to.
That's something I felt like you guys might have been missing, too.
Yeah,
Fred Jackson's a hard runner, but not that kind of hard running.
Right. Fred Jackson incorporates a complete package. He's great out of the backfield. He's a little bit older now, and they knew that they needed to get some people behind him. But if you look at these guys, I mean, I don't know how Anthony Dixon made this jump because we'd seen flashes before in San Francisco. But this looks like a team with 3, maybe 4 guys.
Yeah,
if you put Bryce Brown in there, that could be starters on an NFL team.
Yeah, I don't think San Francisco utilized him in the right way out there. They usually used him for that goal line option, and they finally gave him time and blocking and open space, and he was able to accelerate. And like I said, if you want to win, put Booby in, Booby Dixon right there. So
we've got the flash guy in Spiller. We've got a guy that can pretty much do it all consistently, the reliable guy in Fred Jackson. We've got a pounded guy in Anthony Dixon that can pretty much, seems like he can pick up any big rushing yard. I mean, I couldn't believe, he looked possessed yesterday.
You know what the best thing in all this, we've talked about how great the Bills are looking. We didn't mention Sammy Watkins, who only had, I believe, four targets in the game.
He had 3 catches for 31, I think.
He didn't even, Robert Woods actually started the game alongside him, who people thought Mike Williams was going to start. Had 6 targets, I believe 4 catches for around 70 yards. Robert Woods looking pretty good, kicking off from where he was at last year.
Robert Woods looked great. I really thought that he had a chance to be the guy that blossoms this year. When you have 173 yards passing, you're not going to see that much out of any of your receivers unless it's like a Jimmy Graham type situation where one guy just blows up. But it was a great all-around performance and a great job defensively as well.
It was a great job overall for the 1-0 first place Buffalo Bills. Coming up after the break, though, we're done talking about the Buffalo Bills. Actually, we probably have a question.
Yeah, I've got a few more things to say.
But wait for it. It's the return of John Old's Mailbag. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
The Star Fantasy League show. Information is key to being a successful fantasy team owner, and the guys have all the updated info you need right now. Okay, fantasy sports fans.
There's a letter in your mailbox.
Time to dig into Donald's mailbag for your questions and comments.
Read the mail, read the mail, read the mail.
Jump in the game. Send your questions and comments to the Star Fantasy League's team by tweeting at SFL Show.
Yes, I know, listeners of the Star Fantasy League show, you've been upset. A certain segment called John Old's Mailbag has been missing for over a month. We broke down all 32 NFL teams as we got ready for the 2014-15 season.
But that was awesome. How can you be disappointed in that?
It was awesome, and I know it's going to go away again when we break down all 30 NBA teams. But for now, you get your segment back. It's time for John Old's Mailbag. Do we remember how this works? I don't really. Do we
I think people send in questions or something.
Oh, yeah. I think you can tweet us at SFL Show with your questions for the show, and we'll put them in the mailbag, and we'll answer them on the air.
And it's your mailbag.
It's mine. I'm John.
It belongs to you.
I'm John Old.
I see it sitting right there on the floor.
Yeah, that's actually overdue library notes.
And laundry.
Yes, and laundry I just put in my office. No big deal. Whatever. Things get sent to the studio.
What a mess.
No big deal. All right, so we spent the early part of the show talking about the Buffalo Bills, but somehow, since we are in Rochester, we get more Bills questions. So we're going to continue talking about the Bills, of course. Carson N. writes, with both the Patriots and Jets struggling in Week 1, what are the chances that the Bills can challenge for a playoff spot this season? I'm not talking about I don't think he's excited enough to go for the AFC East crown just yet.
I will tell you exactly what the chances are. I think we'll know next week.
Oh, wow. Thank you for that story.
I think that's the
Hold on. That's a non-answer. You
that's
just gave a
the
non-answer.
situation here. Okay, the running game looked good. How
Good.
really
Better than that. There you go.
How much is Chicago going to struggle against the run throughout the season? Is this going to be their biggest problem? Are they going to be at the bottom of the league? We don't know. We don't know what the Chicago defense is actually going to end up to be. How much of it was, this three-handed monster that looks amazing for the Bills? How much of it was the Bears? And then you have Miami coming off a huge win against the Patriots.
Man, they looked
in which
good.
Their run game was dominant. And that's what I'm really looking to see. I mean, I'm not saying that if the Bills lose this coming week that I'm throwing out any possibility of the playoffs, but they have to make it. It has to be either really close or they have to come away with a win, because if they suddenly look abysmal, we know what we'll be talking about. We know we'll be miserable. So,
but this could be a weird way to judge it, though, because we think Chicago is going to be really good, and therefore if Buffalo beats a Chicago team we thought was really good, okay, great. But people were kind of underplaying this Miami team. Some people actually think they're going to be really good. So if you go in and you play them tough and they were supposed to be really good, it's just the first couple weeks of the season you could take anything away. There's lots of overreactions, lots of teams. Oh, they're terrible all of a sudden. Then this is a team that's a playoff team.
There was a semi-methodical nature to the game yesterday, which is what really stood out to me that I really liked. If E.J. Manuel can continue on this ascension and keep playing smart, keep a good head on his shoulders, and utilize everything that he has, which athletically is huge. Mm-hmm. And I think that he can. I think that the running game could end up being the best running game in the league. I think it's completely possible. Bradham coming back next week. If Gilmore gets healthy and is good to go next week, I think there's a much higher ceiling than just what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, we finished second last year behind the Eagles in running. So I don't doubt that we could definitely be the number one team with the added guys that we have back there. With regards to the other teams in the AFC, New England always has a tough time down in Miami. Tom Brady's 6-7 against Miami in Miami all time in his career. So he doesn't even have a winning record down there. Miami definitely, put up something that they showed what they were, how they finished the season last year. Granted, they played pretty disappointing against the Jets last game of the season.
Yep.
But they have a lot of guys. They did lose Donnell Ellerbe yesterday, which will hurt the defense. He's out for the year. It was confirmed today. You look at the other teams in the AFC, no one really else looked that impressive except for the teams you expected to do well. Denver looked well. Indianapolis came back, so they'll probably win their division. One team that I was impressed about was the Titans. To go into Kansas City, granted, Kansas City had some injuries. I don't think Kansas City will repeat what they did last year.
5 wins.
They didn't give Jamal Charles the ball for whatever reason.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure.
But, I think Buffalo, to me, it takes usually about 4 weeks to judge a team because you're basically going on what they did last year. And we're not last year. We're this year. So I think we need a good month to determine it. But they showed a lot yesterday to go on the road. They've never won in Chicago in their history. They were 0-5 before that day.
This team has enough talent, as we've said many times before, to go as far as E.J. Manuel is going to take them. Eliminating mistakes, hitting quick checkdowns when he has to when the rush is coming on, getting out of bounds, making the smart decisions on the run, avoiding taking big hits. That all went on yesterday.
Well, here's a serious question for you. Do you think that the signing of Kyle Orton actually lit a fire under E.J. Manuel's ass? Because they went out and spent money on a guy who actually can be a fill-in starter. Do you think he saw that as a kind of a little bit of a motivator?
I think that with how long that he has been in the league for, despite not being able to play enough games and not getting enough experience, he's been here. He knows what position he is in. It's not like he's a rookie that they're bringing in a guy. EJ has no experience whatsoever, and all of a sudden he's overwhelmed by that concern of losing his job. I think it did lit a fire for sure, and I think that it got him revved up. I think that he wants to be the leader of this team. His work. I mean, I just read an enormous article about his work ethic and everything that he puts into game planning and what he's doing. He's putting the work behind it. He has the athleticism to be a winner in this league. I'm excited. At least I'm excited, and I think we saw from a lot of teams yesterday how little the preseason matters in terms of what opinion you have on how somebody's going to perform throughout the season.
All right, so let's go from excitement to another question that's the opposite end of the spectrum. Victor D writes, how much should fantasy owners be panicking after week 1, and which situation would cause the most concern? Let's be honest, fantasy players around the world overreact every season for no reason, and then it just turns around. I mean, what kind of wait-and-see approach do we take in fantasy, and which situation actually poses the most concern to you in week 1 of the season?
My situation that I'm a little nervous about, and maybe that's just because I have him on a couple
Oh,
of
here we
teams,
go. You're going to be the unbiased opinion here.
is Zach Stacy. And the reason for that is not because I don't think that Zach Stacy is a capable back. I do. But now they have Sean Hill run into trouble.
Maybe.
Right. So now there's an issue there. And where are they going to go from here? And when you don't have a good passing game, you lose the holes that you can open up for your running back. And Zach Stacy, although talented, he isn't an Adrian Peterson. He isn't a top 5 guy. I don't think he'll ever be that.
No, I actually wrote about this morning. He was definitely one of my guys who I'm concerned about. Minnesota's defense last year against the rush was ranked 32nd. Dead last, people. And they basically shut down Zach Stacy yesterday. People forget Bradford was out for a good chunk last year, and Stacy still was able to produce.
With Kellen Clemens under center. Yay.
Right. He didn't get a lot of looks. They were playing from behind most of the time. Maybe was his name Davis?
Yeah, Austin Davis.
Austin
yes.
Davis. Maybe he is not used to collaborating with him out of the backfield in passing. I don't know.
What happened? What happened to the vaunted St. Louis defense? By the way, is Minnesota better than we think? Like that? These are just random questions that come up because it's week 1 and we have absolutely no idea yet.
I think there is a chance that Minnesota is better than we think. They have a lot of tools on that team. That's just reality. They have arguably the best running back in the league. Greg Jennings is no slouch. I think he gets a bad rap. I think he's gotten a bad rap ever since he left Green Bay just because there wasn't a great quarterback option for him to catch balls from. And then you add in the dynamics of Cordarrelle Patterson, and you've got a pretty potent offensive team.
And you forgot
Kyle Rudolph.
Yeah, you forgot Kyle Rudolph, who you love.
Yeah, so I think there are a lot of options there. If they can maintain some sort of consistency at quarterback, they could at least be in decent shape. Are they a playoff team? Absolutely not. It's not going to happen.
Another guy that I'm kind of concerned about is, even though I think he'll still end up being all right, is because of what this team's success is going to be is Jamal Charles. Just because the amount of touches that they gave him yesterday. The game wasn't too far out of hand, and he still only ended up with 7 rushes yesterday for 19 yards.
That just makes no sense. One of the most dynamic players of all of last season was a key to their giant success, other than the defense, obviously. Yeah, what the heck were they doing with him?
Yeah, I mean, they lost 2 defensive stars yesterday. Alex Smith definitely wasn't, what he can be, essentially.
Good thing Seth's not around to hear that.
Yeah.
He's out of the country. Keep him there.
But that... The touches is the concerning part for me, because if he would have had 20 for like 60, I would have been like, okay, at least they're giving him the ball. You can tell the offensive line. Losing Brandon Alberts might be the key to them, his success going down. Maybe he was more of an importance at that tackle position than we thought. So
Doug Martin looking like he might just have chronic issues going
forward.
Yeah,
he went down, but then he came back, and this is not a good sign.
No, it's not a good sign, and it's what we were concerned about from the beginning. Everything looked like he was going to be good and ready to go. He was climbing up draft boards a little bit.
Why?
So that's very concerning. The guys that you drafted in the 2nd and 3rd rounds, just wait, okay? Because
well, hold on. How about Bishop Sankey going in the 4th round? How many times have we said stay away from Bishop Sankey? How many touches did he get on Sunday? Was it like 2?
6.
6 touches total?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so he's behind Sean Green, and now apparently Dexter McCluster is getting carries on he got like 9.
It's concerning. It depends on what the approach is that they're taking with him. If he ends up being the guy that emerges a third of the way through the season, then you don't really care. But the people that were taking him in the 4th round,
that's insanity.
That was pretty crazy.
Well, let's be honest. He was Monty Ball of last year, because Monty Ball, people thought, oh, right away he'll get it, and then no Sean Moreno the entire season.
My biggest concern right now, by far, forget your 2nd round guys, your receivers. Like Demaryius Thomas didn't have a great game. Big deal.
Julius Thomas caught every ball ever.
We all know this is all going to come to fruition. The Dallas Cowboys and that offense and what Tony Romo looked like, he looked like a guy that had just been drafted winging the ball around, not knowing what he was doing out there. I don't know if the back issues are still nagging. He didn't have the same zip on the ball that we've seen. He was kind of just lofting up a bunch of random passes.
Yeah, that was bad.
Going for some home run into double coverage that wasn't even there.
Yeah.
So who am I concerned about? I'm concerned about Des Bryant.
Yeah,
I'm worried.
That makes sense. That Dallas defense is so terrible. I feel like Romo has to essentially think he has to make every single play, and that always ends up being terrible.
Well, you saw what happened to Eli Manning last year when that defense kind of just wasn't there, and he was forced to throw the ball a lot. Most of his games had 2-3 interceptions in them.
It can still result in a lot of big plays, but Des Bryant didn't do much at all.
Well, he got kicked in the back halfway through the game. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was one of the worst non-injuries I've seen.
Terrence Williams, not much until the late touchdown catch. Jason Witten, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm just worried overall about how this offense is going to come along if Romo continue to play like that. We thought it would be a good thing that they'd be behind all the time.
Yeah, we actually said that before the season.
But every time they got more behind, he threw another pick.
Yeah, that is true. Tony Romo looked terrible. We're hoping it's only injury related and he kind of turns it on, but you never know. It's Tony Romo. Let's be honest. We just don't know. All right, coming off the break, it's time to break down the Monday Night Football matchups tonight and some fantasy implications. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
Play fantasy sports for cash prizes. Join the top daily and weekly fantasy leagues in the country at starfantasyleagues.com. Now, back to the Star Fantasy League show with Jonathan, Zach, and Nick, only on The Team.
Wrong. The man in the cage yet again is wrong. We're back on the Star Fantasy League show with Jonald, Zach, and Matt Footer. What up, Foot?
Footman.
Oh, that's no.
No, Footman.
Please, that's weird.
I like it.
Speaking of feet, can we talk about your shoes today?
Yeah, I'm wearing customized Bill shoes that I spent a pretty penny on, and
It was worth every penny.
all cash, all flash, baby.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, for those of you who clearly can't see this because we're not showing video of this, they're Adidas kicks that are customized to look like Buffalo Bills shoes. They're ridiculous.
Yeah, they're a little painted. We got a couple issues on here.
Uh-oh. Are we calling out the manufacturer right now?
Well, you really got to investigate it to see any blemishes, so I'm pretty pleased with that.
Well, now that you told me about the blemishes, I'm going to talk about them on the air. That's not true. I'm actually not going to. All right, what we do need to talk about on the Star Fantasy League show today is there are 2 games tonight. What the heck?
I love it.
Really?
Yes, I love that we get a big...
I want to go to bed, man. I can't when there's football and I just can't sleep. I can't.
So?
That means tomorrow morning I'm going to be groggy.
You're up till at least midnight usually anyways.
Well, I've been sick the past couple of days, so football I'm just like kind of grogged through.
Well, you're sounding better now.
Thank you.
You're getting there.
It's very kind of you.
Well, we're happy to see you back to form.
Yeah,
I don't like anybody being sick in the Star Fantasy family here.
I was a little zombie.
Yeah.
A little bit zombie. All right, so let's talk about these 2 games. I agree, it is exciting. Especially for fantasy, we get to actually have contests on StarFantasyLeagues.com for the first time on a Monday night.
Yeah, if anything is exciting, it's the fantasy aspect of these games because they're not exactly the most thrilling matchups that we've seen.
No, because let's be honest. We think the first game is the Giants against Detroit. Everyone seems to think that Detroit's going to make a big step forward this season, and the Giants are kind of going to stay in that irrelevant 7-ish win area, 7 to 8 maybe. So the big thing here is I want to see from a fantasy perspective what Eli Manning is going to do with his new offense. I believe they have a new coordinator in there, right?
Yep, Ben McAdoo.
Yep. Rashad Jennings as a starter, is anybody kind of thinking he's going to be a guy?
Yeah, I like Rashad Jennings a lot. I think he's not the big breakout speed guy that you see on some other teams, but he has an arsenal of things that he can offer, particularly in the pass game. I mean, what he was able to accomplish on a Raiders team that really couldn't offer anything else, he became a more than viable fantasy option, and I think that he might have more upside in the situation. Andre Williams, everything that I've read, still very, very raw. I don't think that we'll see him a lot. We saw him in the preseason. Everybody got excited. Rashad Jennings is doing his job in the passing game for protection purposes. He looks very, very reliable, and I think that's a huge key to him getting a bunch of touches this season.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I feel like Rashad Jennings, if he has a good couple of weeks, and you said Andre Williams is a project, Could he be a good sell high candidate for fantasy purposes if he does have a couple good weeks?
I don't think so. I think that he's here to stay at least for this season. I think there's some significant upside involved specifically in PPR leagues just because I think he could grab a ton of catches. He looks like a slightly better Ahmad Bradshaw to me.
Yeah, I mean, the offense that the Giants run, I had to look up the official name for it, but essentially it allows the running backs to ground and pound to set up for the pass. So to me, the only fantasy relevant people on the team tonight are the two backs. Obviously, Jennings more than Williams. I expect Jennings to get 20-plus touches easily. And I think Williams will end up being more of a better real football player than a fantasy football player, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course it does.
I think he'll get the important first down or the third down carries to get the first down, things like that. But I expect Jennings to actually have a really nice game. I don't really expect much from Victor Cruz, Ruben Randall, anybody else who's going to be catching the ball from Eli Manning.
Really? Because the consensus seems to be that they're going to have to air the ball out, right?
I would imagine so.
I figure I don't think that Eli Manning's going to be great tonight because it's Eli Manning, and let's be honest here, he just doesn't seem to really have it.
Yeah, the issue for me with Eli Manning, we saw last year, and last year it was like, hey, this guy's won two Super Bowls. The line was terrible, which is true.
It's really, yeah. They didn't really do much to address it either.
Give him a break, but one of the few things that I saw in preseason that I actually cared about was watching Eli Manning throw absolute ducks over and over again. It wasn't about making bad decisions or, him looking at his different options and checkdowns and so on and so forth. It was about the fact that he had no mustard on his ball. Yeah. And I couldn't understand why that was happening or where it's gone because, I would say that it seems like smaller quarterbacks get overcome by age quicker than larger quarterbacks, guys that can stand up in the pocket easier.
I was going to say, quick tangent, worse arm, Eli Manning or Matt Schaub right now?
Matt Schaub.
Yeah.
He's not even playing,
Matt Schaub doesn't even have an arm that counts.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect. Thank you for that.
But I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on Eli Manning tonight to see if this digression is as real as I think it could be.
If it is real, if you're a fantasy owner of Odell Beckham or Ruben Randall or Victor Cruz, are you just like trying to fire sale as quickly as possible?
No, not necessarily, because the guys that they have in this offense there are a lot of quick hit guys in this offense. Odell Beckham Jr. might end up being a big deep ball threat, but he's not really there yet. And Victor Cruz, although he is very fast, he doesn't necessarily go for the big route every time. He gets a lot of catches in the middle of the field and on quick slants, and I think we'll still see that out of Eli Manning. I don't think that's going to just be lost. I'm just concerned because they got this new offense in here. Eli Manning, a lot of questions there. Is it going to operate to its full potential? Who knows? But to suddenly throw out Victor Cruz and Ruben Randall, although Cruz had a pretty disappointing season last year, it was still a viable fantasy season.
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate, I don't like the guys tonight. I like Victor Cruz this season, but I don't like them tonight based on the matchup. Detroit has brand new coach. Jim Caldwell's in there.
Yeah, finally.
New defensive coordinator. He was the former cornerbacks coach of the Ravens. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of defense they bring out. So I won't completely write off the Giants' offense tonight because we essentially don't know what
they're going to get. Let's be honest. What they do is they get pressure on the quarterback, and they're going to get pressure on Eli Manning tonight.
And that's what I'm cause of concern about. Going from the Lions' perspective, I think they'll be fine fantasy wise. I expect every guy who is supposed to be the fantasy option to have a nice game.
Yeah, we have to quickly talk about one of Zach's favorite players this offseason. It's Golden Tate. You've been talking up Golden Tate quite a bit. He's going from Seattle, where he was kind of the makeshift number one when Percy Harvin went down, to basically a number two. I don't know. I don't want to call him 1B because Calvin Johnson is such a number one guy. But he could really get some opportunity with how many people are going to be covering Calvin Johnson.
From everything I've seen, Golden Tate can do it all. And they're putting him in a great position, in a great offense to be successful. And I think there's just so much upside and sleeper potential to this guy, because if you look at the guys that have been in, the Nate Burlesons that have been in behind Calvin Johnson, that have been so inconsistent and have not given Matthew Stafford any legitimate option after Calvin, this is the guy.
Yeah, Titus Young, Nate Burleson,
Chris Durham.
Woo. who was actually scratched yesterday. That just shows how much, these guys are – they're terrible.
Junk. They're garbage.
I expect a big game from Golden Tate. I've been on the Drake Bell bandwagon all year.
I think he has we talked about a lot about the Reggie Bush Drake Bell thing. I think Drake Bell's going to get more production.
I have him in almost every one of my leagues.
Smart.
And I don't have Bush in any one of my leagues because he ended the year last year. He had about 100 less runs than Bush, but he wasn't too far behind on the running totals, and they had 500-plus yards receiving,
and much
too.
Younger.
Yeah.
Much younger.
I am totally with you. You've got Reggie Bush going as much as a round higher than Drake Bell, a full round.
Yeah, they should be going close.
Yeah.
It's going to be close.
And I like Drake Bell to be one of the breakout players this year. I think they're going to give him enough touches. I think they gave him a steady amount of action as the season went on.
Yeah, he seemed to get better as the season went on.
Yeah, they kept giving it to him more. And then, obviously, you have the concerns for Reggie Bush from an injury perspective because those are always there. If Reggie Bush goes down, Drake Bell could become a top 5 running back in the league.
That's a big statement. I like that.
That's the truth.
Reggie Bush is probably going to go down, let's be honest. All right, we have to talk about the second game, the late game, San Diego and saddled Arizona, a team that could have been good this season except for the fact that everybody with an ACL tore it, right? Pretty much?
Yeah, I mean, we got Malcolm Floyd coming back, which I think what they've seen from him, I know, but what they've seen from him in the offseason, he could end up being that extra weapon that they really need because they didn't really have that much besides the run game with Keenan Allen
that could
last year.
That could help Keenan Allen if Malcolm Floyd is healthy this season.
Antonio Gates coming into the game questionable, which is a definite concern because we thought finally, as we talked about last week, all this turf toe crap is gone. He's in good shape and ready to go. And now we have an issue pop up at the last minute.
Let's be honest. If he is missing any extended time, I love my preseason sleeper pick in Lad Green even more. Absolutely. I want to see what the split looks like between these two guys because as the season went on, Ladarius Green was getting involved in the offense more. He was showing production on the field. I don't understand why they're going away from that.
Yeah, I mean, most ranks had those guys literally right next to each other.
Yeah.
And, it was kind of like, okay, what would you rather have?
You have to shy away.
Or,
I think it's because Gates could do better than last year and even maybe the year before because he's been so nagged by injuries the last couple of years, even though he is a year older. I think you take that over the injury issues hands down. But now that this is popping up, that is why you take Ladarius Green.
Yeah, there are a lot of questions on this San Diego offense. The three-headed monster of Matthews, Woodhead, and Donald Brown, what is that going to look like from a playing standpoint? How many snaps are they getting? Is one of them even scratched? I don't know.
I think Donald Brown will get like 5 carries.
Yeah, I mean, Woodhead might get 10 total touches between catches
Woodhead,
and runs.
he's so dynamic. Last year, he was an absolute PPR darling.
Yeah.
I don't see why you'd go away from that. I really don't.
I don't either. I think he provides some decent value, but a lot of people were taking him
too
rather
high. Yeah, like ninth round.
I couldn't look at him, but when you look at him tonight, and from a fantasy perspective in daily fantasy, he's very tempting.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the other side of the ball because there's more questions. Will Andre Ellington even play, and is Jonathan Dwyer worthwhile if Ellington does not suit up?
The flag is up.
Yep.
I am officially
brittle. Somebody said brittle.
I am officially concerned after there were no problems going into this. Once again, he is one of those guys that was the issue. That was what we were wondering about.
Because they said he's little.
Could he play a full season getting knocked around? And he hasn't even gotten out there yet.
No, it's concerning. Fitzgerald is also listed. He'll play. He's probable. But, the injuries all around for Arizona. They were the number 1 rush defense, 14th on pass defense.
And they're all done.
Year.
All of them.
No Darnell Dockett. Darrell Washington gone. Dansby gone. Tyrann Mathieu probably not going to play. Frosty Rucker. You list all these guys, and it's like, who are they going to stop?
And then we start worrying about a snap count tonight. So if you had another option, I would have put him in. If you didn't, well, then best of luck to you with Ellington tonight.
Yeah, if you're in daily leagues that allow late swapping, guess what? Get Ellington the heck out of your lineup. That's pretty smart. Coming off the break, we're going to talk about the biggest fantasy disappointments and injuries coming out of Week 1. And you're listening to the Star Fantasy League show on 105.5 The Team.
You're listening to the Star Fantasy League show. Contact the StarFantasyLeagues.com guys via Twitter at SFL Show.
We are back on the Star Fantasy League show, and we're still breaking down Week 1 of the NFL season, especially fantasy, because, come on, it's the Star Fantasy League show. If we didn't talk about fantasy, we wouldn't be doing our jobs right, would we, Zach?
Well, that's literally all I think about.
No, you think about the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
And then fantasy.
Okay, that's true.
Yeah.
But usually once I get to about week 8, I don't really have to think as much anymore.
Week 8, wow, you're giving yourself a lot of credit there for the Bills.
Tune in week 8, and you'll get really good expert analysis by that point.
Exactly.
Well, what week was it when we lost to the Falcons in Toronto? We weren't mathematically eliminated yet. That was a little bit late.
That was like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was hanging around for a while.
That's true. You get to go to all the games. You still want to be in a good mood to go to the games, right?
And obviously, whenever there's still any sort of chance on the table, I'm putting everything I've got into
16-0, baby. Go Bills. All right, we have to talk about the fantasy applications from the weekend because there were some interesting surprises that you're going to want to pick up. Obviously, we're going to talk about waiver wire on tomorrow's show for Tuesday because waiver wire pickups Tuesday for Wednesday. Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff to look at out there. There always is in the first couple weeks because these guys just emerge.
That is true. We're going to be talking about that. The rest of the week's going to be looking forward to the next week for fantasy. But the first couple days, lots of recap stuff. So if you're looking forward to next week's stuff, still listen in.
More Bills.
Yep. But if you are looking to play on StarFantasyLeagues.com, we have an awesome bonus offer for you. Free 14 FREE14. If you didn't already take advantage of it, you get a 100% deposit bonus to $2,000. That's $2,000, right? You like that emphasis?
That can really put a lot in your bank account.
Oh, and I forgot, $11 free as well. You get a credit into your account in Star Points, which you can use right away. If you deposit $10, you get an $11 credit on top of that.
I didn't even know we agreed to that.
You didn't agree to it. I actually did it. I have admin controls on the computer. Did you know that?
And you just went ahead and did it.
Yeah, I don't care.
You're fired.
If I did that,
I run the show. You're fired.
would I get Johnny Manziel to come in and do the money sign for me if I, end up winning that money?
You know what? The Star Fantasy League is doing so well as a company. I think we could probably hire Johnny Manziel to go to your house and do that.
Perfect. He wasn't doing anything yesterday. So.
Yeah, he can come to your house or you can go there. He's not coming in this office.
Yeah, that's true. He did do a good job holding a clipboard, though. I did see him shown 47 times during the Steelers game.
Yes.
Stop
Did he really have that one big pass?
No.
Or was that just...
Manziel didn't even come in the game.
Okay, because when I was following my stat tracker,
No.
which is a product of Yahoo, by the way, I saw a 47-yard pass for Johnny Manziel, 1-for-1. I swear it to you.
Unless I had a mental breakdown during the game and I just had no idea what was going on, I'm pretty sure that did not happen. And if
It's
it did,
still here.
I'm really no. Okay, if that did happen, I was literally not watching or I wasn't paying attention. I'm seriously
Check it.
confused. I'm confused right now.
Look, I want to see
Thank
it.
you. I'm looking right now.
I'm
You
getting
don't have,
impatient.
You don't have to yell at me.
Hurry.
God. All right, we're looking up this right now because
No,
he didn't throw a pass.
This is
Yahoo is screwing with you.
nonsense.
That's why you play on StarFantasyLeagues.com. I couldn't have said it any better myself. That's the best glowing review for StarFantasyLeagues.com. Our site does not list Johnny Manziel throwing. I actually am looking at it on his phone. He's not just trashing Yahoo.
No,
right
this
now.
is the Yahoo app. Yahoo Sports app.
Are you kidding me right now?
And it's still there.
Are you kidding me? Seriously, I mean, our stats are up to the minute. If you log on at 108, you get the stats from 107.50. I know we take a little bit, like a couple seconds to upload your stats.
I'm guessing nobody was starting him. So.
Are you
Well,
serious?
never say never.
Yeah, I'm like, have you seen some of the people that start people? Okay,
Have you seen some of the people that
Hold
live
on.
in Cleveland?
Dante Culpepper is still listed on rosters for fantasy sports.
Oh, my God.
That's right. The man hasn't played in the NFL in like 10 seasons.
I guess we'll talk about him tomorrow as a hot pickup.
No, we won't. We're talking waiver wire tomorrow. There's lots of fantasies still left to talk about from week 1. And
David Garrard wants to make a comeback.
Stop that. How about some money to give you at StarFantasyLeagues.com? FREE14, free 14 is the bonus code. 100% deposit bonus to $2,000 that I'm getting fired for, apparently. And an $11 credit directly into your account. Week 1, football's here.
You can still do the show. You're just fired.
Okay, fine. And if you want to kick somebody in the face like Antonio Brown, seriously,
I can't
don't
jump that high.
Seriously, don't do it. Horrible idea. Take it easy, guys.